Doug Ford,
Yes.
the man who just might be Ontario's next premier. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling great. Feeling energized and outside of my voice, still a little hoarse.
It is a little hoarse.
Yeah, it is. But I'm feeling great. Absolutely fabulous. Up early, working long days, but the people are energizing me out there.
That was quite a nail biter on Saturday.
Yeah,
Were you surprised? Were even you surprised at how close it was and how it ended out?
No.
No?
Not at all. I knew I was either going to win or it was going to be close. I really picked up the momentum at the end, and I'm just disappointed more people couldn't vote. And I can tell you, as leader, that will never happen again. I apologize to the 125,000 people that weren't able or eligible to vote, and we're going to correct that problem moving forward.
You know, this may be a job that you regret getting. You have a big job ahead.
Absolutely.
You have to unite the party.
Yeah.
You on Friday at your rally actually threatened to fire a lot of people from within the party, and let me show you this cartoon that I thought was actually pretty good. And there's Doug Ford, and you say a bus is about to go off a cliff, the party is inside, and you say, hold my hand, and they're all saying, don't make eye contact.
That's a funny cartoon, but in saying that, the party's united. At an opportunity.
No, it's not. It's not united, Doug.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
it's never been more fractured with more knives out. You threatened on Friday to fire many people from within. Who are you going to fire first?
Well, first of all, the Leoc group, they're no longer there. They just took care of the leadership. But again, I sat down with the executive, and we're moving forward united. I sat down with Christine and talked to Caroline and Tanya, and I talked to endless MPPs and candidates. Every single MPP is committed that we're going to win this race. We're a united group, and we're going forward. You know,
is it really that easy to unite, though?
It is when you're in the same party, because we've known each other for years. Not just Christine and I, but a lot of the MPPs and a lot of the candidates. You know, I've been to their nomination meetings. I've done fundraisers for them. It's time to unite. The most critical thing is we're focused on Kathleen Wynne. We aren't focused on each other anymore. We're going to move forward as a party, and it's fully united.
Are you going to fire anybody?
Well, you know something, we're reviewing every single aspect of that party. Had to sit down with Vic Fideli, and Vic did a good job, and as he said, cleaning out a lot of the rot, and we're just running through everything. But my main focus right now is we're focused on Kathleen Wynne. Had an opportunity to speak to Kathleen today, and make no mistake about it, I've said this publicly numerous times. I have a great deal of respect for Kathleen Wynne. We will differ on how the province should be run. She's a great campaigner, great debater, and I look forward to debating her. I told her, because she's good at what she does, but she's never debated Doug Ford before.
True, and you know, I'm smiling and kind of half laughing as you sing Kathleen Wynne's praises, because I remember the days at City Hall when you were a city councillor and your brother was the mayor, and you had some pretty strong words against her.
Well, I still have strong words against her. It's not personal. It's the way she's destroyed this province under the McGuinty-Wynne Liberals for 15 years. We've lost 300,000 jobs. We're the most indebted region in the entire world at $311 billion. We're paying $12 billion a year in servicing our debt. People, there's a movement out there. There's a grassroots movement that I've never seen. People always say, oh, we underestimated. You underestimated the grassroots people of this province. Our message, as I said before I went out there, resonates more in 519-613-705 than it even does in 416.
So will you care about the 416? If you become premier,
I love the 416.
Will you take care of the 416,
100%.
or are you going to service your
everyone.
base outside?
No, I'm going to service everyone. I'm going to service the 416. We're going to make sure we build subways in Toronto and the GTA area, but I'll never forget the rural areas, the farmers, the miners that we met. They need help, and I'm there to help them. I heard firsthand when I crisscrossed the province and hit every single town and city, more than once in some cases. But we're going to win seats in places the PCs have never won. We're going to win in London, Windsor. We're going to win in Windsor. We're going to win up in Thunder Bay. We're going to win in areas that traditionally the PCs haven't won before.
Interesting. So you'll take over the NDP? Perhaps some
Absolutely.
of their
well, we know,
support, you think?
Yeah, well, we know that endless people came up to me, and I knew this already. Endless people came up to me on the campaign and said, Doug, I've been a lifelong NDP member, a lifelong Liberal member. Other people have said, I've been disengaged from your party for 20 years. We're all coming back to vote for you. Not necessarily a PC party, but vote for you. So that's our base, and we need the NDP and we need the Liberal voters.
I think you're going to have a delicate balancing act in, during the campaign. I noticed that you were really appealing to the social conservatives, repealing the sex ed. I mean, you acknowledge it, and
absolutely.
you picked up a lot of Tanya Granick-Alling's supporters. Ontario is more moderate, though, as a whole. So are you going to have to pull back a little bit from that social conservative stance? And if so, are you going to be seen as betraying the social conservatives, much the way Patrick Brown was seen as betraying them?
I would never do that to social conservatives, but I have a huge social conscience. As people say, it all depends on your definition of social conservatives, social conscience. We win all the government housing buildings that usually go NDP. We just attract a different group of people. You can't take care of the most vulnerable people in the society without taking care of your finances. They understand it. They're frustrated. They need help. But when the government's bankrupt, how can you help people? We're going to take care of that. We're going to reduce the hydro rates when seniors and other people are deciding whether to, heating or eating. They're going to have a chance to have a little bit of relief. Anyone under $30,000 a year is paying 0% tax. That's how you really help the most vulnerable people.
But do you see having to soften your stance a little bit on the sex ed curriculum or carbon tax to appeal to a greater number of people?
We aren't budging on the carbon tax. We're going to repeal the sex ed, and we're going to consult with the parents. It's not going to be up to Doug Ford. It'll be up to the parents and the teachers. They'll make that decision on what's appropriate, and then we'll move forward. It's again, we aren't going to rip it up and destroy it, and we're going to repeal it, but we're going to review it and get the input from the parents. Because when I used to mention that, crisscrossing the province, just the whole place would erupt when I would say that. So I'm saying, okay, the parents need input.
I've always thought that Ford Nation really spoke to people who were angry, fed up, felt they were paying too much in taxes, didn't like maybe their job, didn't like where they lived, and that you spark a sort of, or speak to a frustration that people have. Do you think that's the majority of people out there in this province right now?
It's not even about Ford Nation now, it's about everyone in the province are frustrated. I've been in this game for 30 years, and when I door knock, you get a little mix before in any other election. This time, it's every single door that they do not want Kathleen Wynne back. They don't want the Liberals back. They've seen how the NDP ran our province, and that was a disaster. They want a change. We're going to bring them a change. We're going to make this province the most prosperous province in the entire country and the most prosperous region in North America to do business.
What do you say to people who compare you to Trump and say, now you're our version of Trump North?
Well, everyone's seen our family. I'm not Trump. We've been in politics for 30 years, well before Donald Trump even existed. But I'll tell you, you look at south of the border, they have the lowest unemployment in 20 years. They've dropped the corporate tax from 36 down to 21%. Trillions of dollars are coming back into the country. Manufacturing jobs are coming back. Then you look at Ontario, lost 300,000 jobs, highest hydro rates in North America. We have this nasty carbon tax, some of the highest residential taxes in the country, and water rates as well. You can't be competitive when you have all these taxes on the backs of the people and the backs of the businesses. We're going to get rid of these taxes and attract new businesses.
But the U.S. seems to be divided on people who love Trump and people who hate Trump. Do you think that that's where you're going to be, is equally polarizing in Ontario? Because I have to say, even from the latest poll that came out in Forum Research, it showed, roughly half of the people polled don't like you. You make them uncomfortable. Do you think that you're going to be able to bridge that gap?
Yeah, I gotta laugh because you
Why are you laughing?
No, I laugh because you just love throwing this Trump thing up.
I've changed the topic to the pool.
But the media wants to always throw that up, and people are.
But I'll be honest, there are some comparisons in terms of your style and your brash, and you have this take no prisoners approach, and people don't know what to do with you. For example, people who debate you because you kind of make up your own rules as you go. You don't follow the traditional rules. So that, I think, is fair to compare you to Trump on that.
Do you know what's funny? The number one comment I get when I sit down with people is, Doug, you're totally different than what the media portrays you to be. I'll repeat that. You're totally different than what the media portrays you to be. And you even admitted the other day, you're calmed down. Again,
yes, you have softened considerably since your days at City Hall.
Well, I've softened because I think I've learned a lot, and I'm not there protecting my brother. I'd protect my brother tomorrow in 10 seconds if I could. I'm not there. I'm going to protect the taxpayers, and we're going to sweep this province. I'm predicting right now there's going to be the biggest majority this province has ever seen from any political organization out there. We're going to win more seats than anyone ever has.
So I'm going to hold that segment of the
Yeah,
tape. We're
keep
going to hold that part, and June
keep that
8th,
clip.
I will show it to you, and we'll
can't
see
wait.
which way it goes.
Absolutely.
You mentioned your brother,
Yes.
and you know, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit, because my question to you, when we see this forum poll,
Sure.
where you make a lot of people uncomfortable, and it shows that 50% really aren't so sure about you as being the next premier. Is there a softer side to Doug Ford? Because
sure
to
is.
your point, you have been, and I think it's also your own doing, you have been portrayed as tough, brash, hard. Some have called you a bully. Is there a softer side to Doug Ford?
Oh, there always is. You see me when I'm out in the public. I'm not that. I've become harsh, and I start attacking when people start stealing off the taxpayers. I'm their protector. I'm going to protect the taxpayers. I'm going to put money back in their pocket instead of the government. I'm going to stop all the sole source deals and the political corruption that we've seen down at Queen's Park. It's not going to happen under my watch. And if it does, we'll make sure that the people are out of the party, no matter who it is. And if they break the law, they're being arrested. I'm not going to tolerate anything. There's billions of dollars being wasted on these sole source deals every single year. The party's over with the taxpayers' money.
Saturday night,
Yes.
I was in that hallway outside the door to the room where you were camped out waiting for the final confirmation and the official announcement. And, you know, half an hour before, we heard the odd cheering. So we sort of knew what was going on. But I also heard, I believe it was your voice, saying Jones, which was the nickname you and your brother, Rob Ford, had for each other. Were
Absolutely. It was someone else that actually chanted that. But yeah, you know, Rob meant everything to me. I'd do anything to have him back for 10 minutes. I miss him. Miss him tremendously, but I know Rob, he's having a good little chuckle upstairs and saying, "Go get him, Jones," and we'll go get him.
Is he, and your father,
Yes,
who
my
was
father as
an
well.
MPP, I mean,
That's
are
right.
they sort of, you know, really prominent in your thoughts as you reach
Absolutely.
this major milestone? I mean, that you know, they were both in politics, but you have just reached another level of politics.
Yeah, they were. They taught me a lot, and Rob taught me a lot, and my dad taught me a tremendous amount about life in general, and about business and politics. And I learn. I learn every single day. I'm a lot wiser and a lot smarter after going down to City Hall 4 years after. And I told my associate coming down here, I said, just imagine how much smarter you were 4 years ago. 4 years after than you were 4 years prior to that. You learn. We all are. And as you move forward, you learn.
So what do you say to voters who remember those 4 chaotic years at City Hall? I mean, it really was insane, and they have a vision of you, and they don't know that you can be the premier. They can't wrap their head around that. And I'm being honest, I'm hearing a fair bit of that.
Well, I think there's more people there saying, go make the changes. We need someone strong, someone with a backbone that will stand up to the grassroots. And to be fair, no one can argue with our financial record. We saved over $1 billion. We ended up outsourcing the garbage, making DTC an essential service, saved hundreds of millions of dollars on the labor deal, and we had the city booming, absolutely booming. Now it's gone all back again. Taxes have gone up. You know, we delivered a 0% tax increase. Now their taxes have gone up. The reserves are
you brought in a
done.
subway
Spent $1
levy,
billion.
which is a tax.
And we actually proposed a subway for a 3-stop subway, and we're gonna make sure that happens for the people of Scarborough. But we did tremendous things for the city, and everyone knows it. Sure, there was a little bit of turmoil the last year or two, but the first few years were tremendous. And again, you're talking to Doug Ford. With all due respect, I'm not Rob Ford, and I love Rob Ford more than anything in the world. We're different. We're going to move forward, and I can't wait to turn this province around.
Last question, because Lindsay, we can show Lindsay a little bit, not to embarrass you, Lindsay. She just held up a sign saying, "Please, God, we're late. We've got to go." Sorry, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Then if you become premier, can we expect a lot of cuts under a Doug Ford government?
Yeah, I don't use the word cuts. I believe in the word efficiencies. We'll drive efficiencies through lean practices, best practices, and technology, like we did at the city. Not one single person lost their job down at the city. our whole term, and we still saved $1 billion. I don't believe in taking food off people's
That's a number.
topics.
$1 billion has always been hotly debated, but
Well, it's actually Mike Delgrand, who is one of the smartest budget chiefs. He said, "Stop saying $1 billion. It was $1 billion one something," and he gets frustrated. But anyways, we saved over $1 billion of taxpayers' money, and we're going to do the same. But only one thing we're going to do different.
What's that?
We're going to save billions for the people of Ontario, not billions.
All right, I'm going to let
you.
you end it on that
Thank you.
note. The next few weeks are going to be fascinating,
Yeah, they
and
will
I
be.
look forward to seeing how all of this turns out.
Thank you.
All right,
I
all the
appreciate
best.
it. Thank you.